And today we will be discussing the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 7, with a special focus on verse 14. Verse 14 says, "In the day of prosperity, be joyful. But in the day of adversity, consider." Meaning, when things are going good, it is okay to be joyful. It is okay to rejoice when things are going wonderfully. It is a wonderful thing to feel good about the way things are going, to feel good about the progress you've made, to feel good about things going in a positive direction. But when things are not going good, consider. What does that mean? It means think about why things aren't going good. Because contrary to popular belief, if you live a life that's pleasing to God, you don't get these hiccups in life. You don't get these downfalls. You hear songs like, "We fall down, we get up. We fall down, but we get up." See, God didn't put us here to fall down. He put us here to do the falling down when you're a young man, and then you figure it out and you don't fall down no more. You may stumble, you may tumble, but you don't fall. In the day of adversity, consider why things aren't going as good as they were in the day of prosperity. There is a reason behind it. It is not just because there are ups and downs and highs and lows and lulls and valleys. That's not what we're talking about. People tell you to be humble when things are going good. See, just because I'm happy when things are going good, that don't mean I'm not humble. Me being happy when things are going good is me being humble. That's me humbly expressing to the Lord that I am thankful. That's me humbly expressing to the Lord that I am pleased that I have been able to find enough grace in his sight for me to be living the way I'm living and enjoying this particular thing that I'm enjoying right now. Now, what's my goal? To make sure that I stay within the realm of prosperity. To make sure that I live within the realm of godliness that keeps me not at the threshold of prosperity, but living right in the midst of prosperity. Famo, salute. SJ, salute. The money boys in the building. Royalty, I see you, man. Spiritual Alpha in the building as usual, man. Good to see you in the building as well. Always good to see you, brother. I saw 3 Kings in here earlier. Hey, man, if you want to be a part of this live chat, which is the most spiritually astute alpha live chat on this particular platform, by far, there is no competition. Go ahead over to the main channel page on the King Ray Ray Show channel. And next to the subscribe button, you'll see a join button. Click that join button, go in, join, become a member, and come on back into this live chat. Now, what I really want to say is this. People want you to not show when you're pleased with your progress. They want you to not show that you are happy with the strides you've made. They want you to not remind them that they are not doing the things in their lives that they need to be doing in order to get to where they want to get to. That's what they want you to do. They want you to take the time to consider that they chose to go that way instead of that way. There's a right way, there's a wrong way. Everything else is just a waste of time. Now, let's go back to the first chapter of this, man. Again, we're in the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 7. Verse 1 says, "A good name is better than precious ointment, and the day of death than the day of one's birth." A good name is better than precious ointment. What does a good name represent? It represents that people believe that you are who you present yourself as. It represents that you are a man that people can look up to. It represents that you are a man that people can look to for leadership and guidance. It represents that you are a man who has your own stuff together so you can tell somebody else how to get and keep their stuff together. See, we ain't talking about making all the money in the world or being the most famous person in the world or being none of these worldly things. We're talking about you being a man who stands on principle. You being a man who stands on the principles and precepts, commandments of the Most High. You being a man man that people can say that man now has been on this mission for a long time. People can be happy when you become successful, when they have watched you do it the right way, when they have watched you not take advantage of people, when they have watched you not be mean to people, not be a brute to people, not look down your nose at people. A good name is better than precious ointment. King Ray Ray, I pray, is a good name to you, brothers. Dr. BOA, I pray, is a good name to you, brothers. If you know me personally, Dean, I pray, is a good name to you. To anyone with whom I've ever been involved, to the women I'm involved with right now, I pray that Dean is a good name to you. Before my father passed, I hope that Junior brought joy to his spirit when he thought about it, when he said it, when he saw me. When my mama thinks about me, I hope that my name is good to her. I hope that even my enemies, whom God has made to be at peace with me, because let's not forget, when a man ways pleases God, he maketh even his enemies to be at peace with him. I hope that my name is good in their sight when they're at home by themselves at night and they don't have to hate. And the day of death than the day of one's birth. Why would the day of death be better than the day of birth? Because even though we have a wonderful existence here, if we live a life that's pleasing to God, this is not an easy world. You think about all of the trials and tribulations and turmoil that you've had to go through. Think about all of the things that are going on in the world that make a man say, wow, man, the world is going down a terrible path. The day of death means you are free from all of this. That's why there is no need to fear that. There is no need to fear leaving here. The only thing there is to fear is to not be on your mission when you leave here, because then you got to be concerned. But if you're on your mission, going about your way when you leave here, it was your time. Well, they say, well, it's always your time. No, if you're on your path, then it's your time. If you're not on your path, you might have left here too early. But the day of death is better than the day of one's birth, because the day of one's birth, you are blind to the fact that you are coming into such a world. At the day of one's death, you are pleased that you are leaving such a world. Verse 2, it is better to go to the house of mourning than to go to the house of feasting. For that is the end of all men, and the living will lay it to his heart. What are we talking about? It is better to go to the house of mourning. It is better to go to a funeral than go to a party, because a party makes you forget the mediocre existence that you have. No matter how great you are, you can be stricken down in a moment by some ailment, by some accident, by some natural disaster. You could be stricken down in any minute. But when you go to the house of mourning, you remember that could be you. I showed you guys the pictures from a wreck that I had the other day, man. The very next day, a man perished in a head-on accident, head-on collision. The very next day. I mean, in the same area, almost the same place. You see, that could have been me. That could have been me. That's what a humbling experience is. Humbling experience don't have to happen to you. Humbling experiences happen to us all the time around here. But you got to be seeking to be humble. You got to be humble in spirit. You don't have to walk around saying, oh, no, I'm so lowly. Don't worry about me. No, it's okay to be happy and pat yourself on the back. You don't pat yourself on the back because you got the blessing. You pat yourself on the back because you live the life that made God see you fit to get the blessing. Sorrow is better than laughter. For by the sadness of the countenance of the heart is made better. For by sadness, the countenance of the heart is made better. Sadness makes you appreciate joy more. Not anger now. Sadness makes you appreciate joy more. Rough times make you appreciate peace of mind more. Being in an environment where you're hated makes you appreciate being in an environment where you're loved more. Sadness makes the heart stronger, more resilient, makes the heart softer in a way. Because when you're appreciative, it's hard to be angry and appreciative at the same time. It's hard to be mean and appreciative at the same time. It's hard to be ungrateful and appreciative at the same time. It's hard to be not humble and appreciative at the same time. Man, when you appreciate life, like there are too many things to appreciate in life. Man, let me tell y'all something. I appreciate being here right now with you men in the kingdom right now. More than there's no other place I'd rather be right now. I appreciate being here. I appreciate you men being here. It was 11 a.m. Central Standard Time we came in here, man. This is in the AM on a Monday morning. The fact that I can be here and y'all can be here with me, man, how blessed are we to be able to be here? There are people who can't be here. There are people who are no longer here. Verse 4. The heart of the wise is in the house of mourning, but the heart of fools is in the house of mirth. The heart of the wise is in the house of mourning. Why? Because every situation in life teaches you wisdom if you are focused on that situation. When you're in a certain environment in this society, people passing away, people perishing means nothing. It means pour out a shot and put their name on a t-shirt and then go on until the next person perishes. And then you pour out a shot of liquor and you put their face on a t-shirt and then you keep moving on. Just throughout life, you just keep moving on. Before you know it, there's 15, 16, 17, sometimes 20 or 30 people that you knew who had perished in this one environment. And it becomes a normal thing. Everything becomes a time to party. Everything. People party after funerals. People party before funerals. People party all of the time. Everything is a party because there is no wisdom in that environment. When everything is a party and everything is a good time, then you are unwise because this is not the world you live in. You do not live in a fun world. You do not live in a happy-go-lucky world. You do not live in a world where everyone wants you to win and everyone's got their hand out trying to help you and you can rely on people. That's not the world you live in. You don't live in a world where people just see you and say, okay, because you're a person, I'm going to make sure you're okay. That's not the world you live in. You ain't got time to party. You ain't got time to party. Appreciate that, famo. Salute, SJ. Appreciate it, man. So you got to keep in mind that when you see people having fun and all they think about is fun, their whole life is fun, they're losing ground. They're losing ground. They're losing time. They might be losing their minds. For as the crackling, the heart of the wise is in the house of mourning, but the heart of fools is in the house of mirth. See, it didn't say your person. It didn't say you got to be in the house of mourning. It said your heart. Your heart remembers that your time is coming, which means you don't have time to waste. When you see a man not wasting time, he knows that time is not his. Listen, I don't have time to waste. I can waste my life, but I can't waste time. I ain't got no time. 24 hours in a day gonna pass no matter what I do. 24 hours in the day are gonna pass no matter what you do. There are 24 hours in a day for you, for me, for everyone. My dog got 24 hours in a day. Your pet rabbit got 24 hours in a day. So I'm not wasting time. I'm wasting my life. I'm wasting space. I'm wasting oxygen. I'm wasting opportunity. It's easy to just look at time. What time? You know, time can't stand still for no one time. No, but when you look at it, you're wasting opportunity. You're wasting space. You're wasting oxygen. You're wasting time. You're wasting, you're wasting information. You're wasting knowledge. You're wasting understanding. You're wasting everything, man. You're wasting people who benefit you. You're wasting open doors. You're wasting everything, man. You ain't just wasting time. You can't waste time. You're wasting everything else. Time gonna be here when you gone. It is better to hear the rebuke of the wise than for a man to hear the song of fools. It is better to hear the rebuke of the wise than for a man to hear the song of fools. There's a bunch of songs of fools out here. Bunch of them. You hear them all the time. Urban music is full of them. And that's just the way it is. Like, you have to understand, man, listen, I don't listen to the song of fools. I don't do it. You hop in the wheel with me, you're going to listen to some Tosh. Exhibit, let Jah be praised. Medusa Nagast, let Jah be praised. A Daniel Lam, let Jah be praised. Let him be praised. I said, let him be praised. You better let him be praised. That's what you're going to hear. Fret not thyself because of evildoers, neither be thou envious against the workers of iniquity. That's what you're going to hear when you ride with me, man. That is the rebuke of a wise man in song. Neither be thou envious against the workers of iniquity, for they shall soon be cut down like grass. It is better to hear the rebuke of the wise than for a man to hear the song of fools. Go out here and have fun. Don't worry about abstaining. You listen, there are two choices for a godly man. Either you're going to abstain or you're going to have a wife. And you know, I don't mean legal wife, but you're going to abstain or you're going to have a wife or wives. There is no in between. There is no go out here and have fun and just have somebody to play with. That's not what we do. As a wise man, as a godly man, you don't live that life. We let the men of the world live that life. They enjoy it. They have fun. They brag about it. They talk about it. We let them live it. See, here's the thing. I'm not here to tell you what not to do. I'm here to help you on the path when you decide you want to do the right thing. When you decide you want to go the straight and narrow path, God has blessed me to be a gatekeeper, one of his gatekeepers to a straight and narrow path. I'm right there. Hey, step right up, right this way, right this way. One foot in front of the other. The path is very narrow. Better to hear the rebuke of the wise than for a man to hear the song of fools. For as the crackling of thorns under a pot, so is the laughter of the fool. This is also vanity. We learned about this as a kid with the ant and the grasshopper. The ant stored food, collected food all summer long, all through the summertime. You know what the grasshopper was doing? Going to beach week, going to spring break, going to all of these things. Hey man, he was having fun. He was being a fool. He was in the house of mirth. He was in the house of mirth. You know what the ant was? In the house of mourning, because the ant remembered the year that a bunch of people in the colony, that a bunch of ants in the colony perished because they didn't store enough food. So you know what the ant did? Got a head start on storing. And I'll never forget the image of this as a kid. Wintertime came. The grasshopper was looking in the ant's kitchen. and the ant was in there in the warm, with a warm fireplace glowing, in there cooking a full course meal. I'm talking about living good, and the grasshopper outside looking in the window freezing. I'd never forget that image. That's the image. Man, I saw that when I was 3 years old. I'll never forget it. That's the image that taught me about being a sluggard. That's the image. That's the image that taught me you ain't got time to waste. That's the image that taught me, hey man, you better get it while the getting is good, because in a minute the getting ain't gonna be bad. Now ain't gonna be good no more. It's gonna be bad. That's the image. At 3 years old, I never forgot that image. That grasshopper looking in that ant's window like this, outside freezing in the cold, and that ant is in there living the life, just a normal, basic life with the necessities, because the ant chose to work during the time that the work was possible. While the ant was working, the grasshopper was laughing. Ha ha, look at you. Look at all this fun I'm having. Ha ha, look at you working. Woo woo, you lose a lot of weight. You're looking good. Look at you. Look, but you're getting in shape. Ha ha, look at you doing your thing over there. Woo, I'm about to go to the beach. I'm about to go to the party. I'm about to go hang out over here. I got all the time in the world. It's just the beginning of summer. Until you realize you don't have all the time in the world. Surely, oppression maketh the wise man mad, and a gift destroyeth the heart. What does that mean? Oppression maketh the wise man mad. Why? Because the wise man is about growth. The wise man wants to grow. The wise man wants to lead. The wise man wants to teach. The wise man wants to instruct. And when you oppress, you can't do any of that. You can't be who you're naturally put here to be. That's why a man who dreams of being an entrepreneur is miserable every day he gets up and goes to work. That's why a man who dreams of being on his own is miserable every day he wakes up, man, and he's under somebody else's rules in their household. Because a wise man goes mad under oppression. And a gift destroyeth the heart. What does that mean? Bribery. If someone can give you a gift to sway away from your statutes and commandments and your principles and precepts, then they have destroyed your heart. The heart of man is what God judges. God judges the heart and the reins of the mind. God judges the heart and mind of a man. If God judges your heart and mind, he'll see what's in your spirit. Your heart and mind are what your actions are going to bring out. Your spirit is the foundation of all of that. Whatever your heart and mind focus on, that is what your spirit is on. Heart and mind are just a spirit are just a reflection of the spirit. Nothing more. Better is the end of a thing than the beginning thereof. And the patient in spirit is better than the proud in spirit. Why is the patient in spirit better than the proud in spirit? The patient in spirit is a wise, distinguished, slow to wrath man. Why? Because he understands that everything has to be logically thought out. See, just because we approach everything with logic doesn't mean emotion doesn't rise up first. We're humans. Just because we're men doesn't mean we're not human. We're humans. Sometimes something happens and emotion is the first thing that comes up, but you can't respond based on that emotion. You got to put a lid on that and say, well, hold up. Let me take some time and settle down here. Let me take time and settle down so I won't respond with wrath. Let me take some time and think this thing through. Don't matter how much time you take the time you got to take to think that thing through, because you want to respond with logic. The patient in spirit means that, see, if your spirit is haughty and proud, and then that emotion takes over, you're going to respond to that emotion because your spirit, yeah, who you think you're talking to? What you go, oh man, you think you're talking to me? You think you're going to do that to me? Oh, who you talking about? I heard you been talking about me. Who you talking about me like that? Oh boy, it's on now, man. It's on. Oh no, you talking about me like that. You know who you dealing with? Then at the same time, you talking about God while you yelling on somebody. God put me here. I'm telling you, boy, you don't want none of me, boy. I'm a man of war by God, boy. You responding with emotion because you don't have a patient spirit. You have a proud spirit. Being proud of what you accomplish, being proud of who you become, being proud of what you've done, being proud of what you've seen. That's not a proud and haughty spirit. We talk about a proud spirit, man. Be not hasty in thy spirit to be angry. For anger rested in the bosom of fools. Anger rested in the bosom of fools. Let me tell you something. Anybody I've ever been around that was quick to anger, man, I cut them off. There's nothing good that can come out of that. Nothing good can come out of that. Nothing good can come out of that. Be not hasty in thy spirit to be angry. That's why when that emotion sparks up, when that anger sparks up, you got to catch yourself and say, wait a minute. Am I angry? Or am I just letting emotion rule me? Am I truly angry? And then sometimes you think about it and you realize I'm not even angry like that. I'm not angry. I'm not angry at all. Remember this. Anger rested in the bosom of fools. Anger is not the way to respond. Anger is never the way to respond. Never. Even when it comes to dealing with children, if you're dealing with your children, anger is not the way to respond. If you have to reprimand a child, you reprimand that child based on logic, based on the fact that, okay, this is what you've done. This has to be taken care of this way. Not because you're angry, because it's the principle of it. It needs to be done. It's in your unwritten rule book. Like, this has to be done. Just don't let it be done out of anger. Unless you want to be a fool. If you want to be that, fine. Wisdom is good with an inheritance, and by it there is profit to them that see the sun. Wisdom is good with an inheritance, and by it there is profit to them that see the sun. If you give I tell my son all the time, boy, if you don't prove to me that you can handle it, I'm not leaving you nothing. I leave whatever I had of science first. I ain't leaving you nothing. I leave your portion of science. If you don't show me wisdom, I'm not leaving you nothing, because it takes wisdom to man. Wisdom is good with an inheritance, and by it there is profit to them that see the sun. You ain't gonna make it turn into something if you ain't wise with it. You know what you're gonna do? You're gonna go out there to the house of mirth with the fools, and you're gonna go out there and have a blast with it. That's what you're gonna do. You're going to have a blast with it. And that's it. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. I don't know if it's gonna affect the way I rest in peace, but boy, I'm gonna tell you, I think it will, and so I'm gonna handle it that way. You got to show me some throughout this life. You got to be on the ball, man. You got to prove to me that you are gonna put in the type of work necessary to maintain a thing. Because I'm not leaving this from you. I'm leaving this for your son. A wise man leaveth an inheritance for his son's sons, for his children's children. I'm leaving this for your children, not you. And I wish I would. I wish I would. I'll skip right over you and leave it and put it in a trust for them. Say not thou, what is the cause that the former days were better than these? For thou dost not inquire wisely concerning this. Let me tell you something. People are always talking about the good old days. Well, I remember back in the day, especially when it comes to marriage and relationships. People always talk about the good old days. I remember when this. Okay, well, do you remember? You remember when when your grandma stayed at home and did all that good stuff, but do you remember when your granddaddy was a sharecropper? See, we always leave that part out. We always leave out the part that your granddaddy didn't have near about the opportunity you got. We leave that part out. So you can't leave that out. Those two things go together. Man, I remember back in the old days, you weren't even here in the old days. So anybody here right now that's talking about the old days don't know no better. Talk to somebody older. Talk to somebody that's 80, 90 years old. They don't say the old days were better. They say the people were better during those times. See, the world is getting better. The people in the world are getting worse. If people were wiser and people were more righteous and people were more moral, the world would be a fantastic place because the advances in technology wouldn't have happened so quickly because everybody wouldn't be using it in a way that they're using it that makes people want to make it come to you faster and faster and faster and faster. It would have been a tool instead of being a weapon against you. So nobody who's older, who's old enough to really have been around during a different time, is going to tell you, man, that those days were better than these. Who do you think from the civil rights era going to tell you that those days were better than these in the South? Who do you think going to tell you that the days of the rotary phone are better than these days? The cordless home phone. Who do you think is who in business do you think is going to tell you the days of the IBM computer were better than this? Were better than these MacBooks and Helios Predator 300s? Who going to tell you that? Those days weren't better. The people were better. The people were more humble. The people sought out God more. The people, listen, don't ever say that because you're not wise when you say that. You're just not. For wisdom is a defense, and money is a defense. But the excellency of knowledge is that wisdom giveth life to them that have it. Wisdom is better than money. Money is good. Listen, money is not bad. Money is a defense. When you got a certain amount of money, you can protect yourself from certain things. You can insulate yourself from certain things. You can buy your way out of certain things. You can pay your way over certain things. You can bribe your way under certain things if you want to. If that's the life you live in, it happens all the time. I'm not saying you should do it, but it happens. But wisdom, knowledge, come on, man. Wisdom gives life. Wisdom can save you. Wisdom can save you. Let me tell you something. No matter how much money you have, if one of your organs fails, guess what you have to do? You have to get on a waiting list. Now, you may be able to go, some unscrupulous back alleyways, but I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about under normal circumstances, you got to get on a waiting list. You might be able to bump up the list a little bit, I guess, but you got to get on a waiting list. But the wisdom of taking care of your body in a way where you don't have to worry about that, that's life saving. Wisdom giveth life to them that have it, but not have it, use it. And you know the wonderful thing about wisdom? If you got wisdom, you use it. Anybody who ain't using wisdom don't have it. If you are blessed with wisdom, you use that wisdom. Period. Nobody who has wisdom doesn't use it. Now, you may know better. That ain't wisdom. Wisdom is embracing the fact that you know better. Hey, y'all, give me a quick second, man. Hold up. Hello? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. So you're about an hour out? Oh, okay. All right. I'll be ready when you get here. All right. Yeah, man. They about to come pick up my car, man. And they're going to total it out, man. Look like a total. So I figured that, though. Once the airbags come out on it, it's almost instant total, man. Those airbags are expensive to put back, man. Because they come in from the factory. Like once they're out, they're just meant to be out. You know what I'm saying? They're not meant to go back in. So, but when when you consider this, man, consider the work of God. For who can make that straight which He hath made crooked? People are telling you, don't worry about it, man. God ain't this and God ain't. Who can make straight which that He? Who can change anything? Who can knock down the mountains and rebuild them the way they want to? Who can drain the ocean and fill it up with whatever they want to drink? Who can do that? Who can put legs on the fish and put them back on the land? Who can put legs on a snake, make them walk on land again? Now, I'm not saying there aren't any attempts to alter some things, but man, it's a million-year process. You know what I'm saying? Is to even alter something, to even try to recreate, not even alter something, but try to recreate something. To try to do your own version of something, but you can't change it. In the day of prosperity, be joyful. But in the day of adversity, consider. God also hath set the one over against the other, to the end that man should find nothing after him. There is nothing after God. But see, we in a world where people always trying to see something else. People always want to find something else. People always want to say, well, God, if God, well, okay, if God did that, who did this? They always want to find something after that. I don't want to find nothing after that. Ain't nothing, whatever after. If you find something after that, it ain't gonna be better than God. It ain't gonna be better than the Most High. So what are we looking for? What are we trying to find? If it ain't gonna be better than what I already got, I don't care nothing about looking for it. I don't want to find nothing else. God also has set one over against the other. You remember I told y'all that when you fear success, you fear when you fear failure, you fear success because they right there together. Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 14. In the day of prosperity, be joyful, but in the day of adversity, consider. God also has set the one over against the other, to the end that man should find nothing after him. Let's talk about it. Be joyful in the day of prosperity. Why can't you be joyful in the day of prosperity? This world wants you to, well, you better be humble. You better be careful of the people you smile, people who had you step on the way up, because you're going to see their feet on the way down. I ain't stepped on nobody's head on the way up. And now that I'm here, now that I get somewhere, I'm going to be thankful. I'm going to be joyful. I'm going to be happy for me. And I'm going to be grateful to God that I made it to where I wanted to make it to. Because you know what? When I get through celebrating and having a good time, I got to go right back to the house of mourning and get right back on the ball. It's like winning game one in a 7-game series. Woo-wee! Okay, back to work. It's like winning a championship. We got a summer to celebrate, then we back. The season start over. Everybody start from zero again. We the champion from last year. Ain't nobody the champion this year yet. We got to do it again. If you fear failure, you fear success. Because you got to look failure right in the face in order to succeed. Listen, failure's over here, success is over there. They're right here by each other. You see them back there? See them two paths? You can go that way, or you can go that way. You can go that way or that way. Which one of them ways you going? You got to go one. All things have I seen in the days of my vanity. There is a just man that perisheth in his righteousness, and there is a wicked man that prolongeth his life in his wickedness. There's a kid in Florida, man, not too long ago. He wasn't from Florida, but he jumped in the water to save some young kids. He was a teenager. Jumped in the water to save some young kids. He saved the kids, but he didn't make it. Now there's a teenager who did something righteous and he perished in his righteousness. He saw some kids and said, no, I can't just watch this happen. I didn't go further into the story to know if there were any adults there or any of that. I just know that that kid said, I got to do something about this. And he did something about it. And see, we look at it and say, man, I wouldn't have did that, man. I would have. But see, he did that. And it was such a noble thing. We don't know if he felt no pain or nothing. We don't know about time he hit the water. Once he got them out, we don't know if God said, okay, my son, you have done well enough. You ain't even got to prove nothing else to me in this life, and just called him home. See, we look at everything from a negative perspective because that's what this world tells us to do. For all we know, God just took him and he was not. That's what happened to Enoch. God just took him and he was not. So for all we know, he didn't feel a bit of pain, man. He proved his worth. He proved in that moment there was nothing greater in life that he could do. How many times have you sacrificed your life to save someone? Maybe that's the ultimate sacrifice. Maybe that's the ultimate sacrifice of of your physical man by your spirit man. That's necessary for God to say, "Okay, you have done it. That's it. You have done it. You have proved yourself to me. You don't need to do nothing else." But there is also a man who is wicked, who prolongeth his life in his wickedness. How do you prolong your life in your wickedness? By getting people to do unscrupulous things that keep you from getting dealt with. By buying your way out of things. By intimidating people who could have a hand in putting you away or having something happen to you. This life on earth is not the reward. So when you look at it from this perspective, you have to understand that the man who extends his life, who prolongs his life through wickedness, that's not a reward. Just like the man who perishes in his righteousness, that's not a curse. Because remember what we said. Verse 1. The day of death is better than the day of one's birth. Remember that. See, we can't skip over verse 1. A good name is better than precious ointment, and the day of death than the day of one's birth. We can't remember that. So how can we look at that and say it's a bad thing for a man to perish in his righteousness? We can't. Be not righteous over much, neither make thyself over wise. Why shouldest thou destroy thyself? I'm gonna be honest with you, man. It is the more you learn, the more you know, the worse the situation is in this environment. You look at everything for what it truly is, and it's enough to destroy you, man. It is. So when people always trying to learn more and more and more and more and more, okay, have you read this book? Have you read this book? Okay, well, what about people got all these different spiritual texts and these religious texts that they want to lead? I don't need no more. I don't need to add no more to what I got. I just study what I got. I don't need no more. I don't need to fill no gaps. I don't need to do none of that. I see. I don't look at my spirituality like a Rhodes Scholar, like some college grad, like I'm looking for a PhD in Bible theology. I don't look for that. I'm feeding my spirit man. And this is a meal that I can eat over and over and over again, man. I don't never get tired of it. And so I continue to feed my spirit man with the food that I got. I don't want no more food. I got everything I want. So they keep you when you come throw a different book and say this and I man listen man I've had guys make you lack understanding and I don't care nothing about none of that. I don't care about none of that. All I care about is God called me here to do what I'm doing and know what I know. That's it. Whatever else there is to know, let somebody else go know it. I don't want to know it all. I don't want to know it all. I know what I know. You need to know more than that? Go find it. Need to hear more than that? Go listen. Need to see more than that? Go take a peek. But me, I'm here. I don't want to be over wise. I don't want to be over righteous. I don't want to sit here and try to be perfect. I'm not going to be perfect. I am not going to be perfect. But everything that I can master, you better believe I put my best foot forward and do everything in my power to master it. I'm not going to sit here and try to be monk for the rest of my life. I wish I would. I'm not going to be monk for the rest of my life. I'm not going to even try. I'm not going to even try. Be not over much wicked, neither be thou foolish. Why shouldest thou die before thy time? Why shouldest thou die before thy time? Remember, I talked about being on that path. You could be on that path, you could be on that path. There's a path that you should be on where you go run into your blessings. There's also a path you could be on where you might face some early, you might perish early. You might perish before your time. See, that's the difference in a man who perishes in his righteousness. Because it's not to say it didn't say all men, all wicked men prolongeth their life in their wickedness. It said there is a wicked man that prolongeth his life in his wickedness. But most men in their wickedness, they don't prolong their life in their wickedness. There is a man. There may be a man somewhere. There is a man somewhere, but it ain't all of them. And just like all of us don't perish in our righteousness, we still here. That kid is gone. But it was one of the most righteous deeds I ever heard of. It is good that thou shouldest take hold of this. Yea, also from this withdraw not thine hand. For he that feareth God shall come forth of them all. He that feareth God shall come forth of them all. What does that mean? If you fear God, you are above all of those who don't. It doesn't matter what they have materialistically. It doesn't matter what they represent. It doesn't matter any of that. He that feareth God shall come forth of them all. That's how you keep moving through life. That's how you navigate life. That's how you look at the obstacles you face it. That's how you overcome all the things that are in your way. That's how you look at the obstacle, a big mountain, and say, that's an obstacle, but it's not insurmountable. Why? Because I fear God. And guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to follow whatever direction he tells me to go to get around that mountain. Because I know he knows there's an opening, a pass through that mountain. Guess who know it? The Most High. If there's a way to leap over that mountain, guess who know it? The Most High. If there's a shortcut around that mountain, guess who know it? The Most High. Before anything can be quote unquote discovered by man, the Most High already know it's there. So why would you not fear God? Why would you not follow God? He got the keys and the answers to every single question, every single thing you'll ever face. The keys and the answers are right there. So why not bond yourself with the Most High so those answers can already be presented to you before you got to go ask somebody, before you got to learn something the hard way, before you got to bump your head 15 times on the wall. Why not just do it the right way the first time? Wisdom strengtheneth the wise more than 10 mighty men which are in the city. Why is that? Because physicality is limited in its range. Physicality is limited in its effect. If you can't put your hands on it, your physical strength don't matter. But you can wise your way through something. You can wise your way out of something. You can wise your way into something. You can, boy, let me tell you something. You can, wisdom is the most powerful thing that's available to us. Wisdom strengtheneth the wise more than 10 mighty men which are in the city. Wisdom can travel with you. If we're in a wrestling ring, yes, physical strength, that's you. I might not be able to wise my way out of that if you was just much stronger, much bigger, much all of that. There are some situations where physical strength is the best tool in the house. The best tool, the best weapon in the house. But when you get out of those physical realms, wisdom is the winning source. And even in those situations where physicality is the dominant force, guess what? Wisdom can still wise you around the need to engage physically. Wisdom is a superpower, man. Wisdom is your superpower. Wisdom is my superpower. Wisdom is our superpower. We have wisdom as a superpower. Why don't we use it? Why aren't more men using the superpower of wisdom? Not the superpower of what you learned in a book, in a school, in a classroom. That's not wisdom. That's information. But it's only information about a certain thing. Very few of those will teach you how to navigate this life, navigate this world. outside of those particular fields. But wisdom, whoo, boy, boy, boy. For there is not a just man upon earth that doeth good and sinneth not. There is no just man on earth who doeth good and sinneth not. That's why you can't try to be over righteous. You can't stress yourself. All you could do, man, is give God your very best effort. He knows the things you struggle with. Each man in this chat right now struggles with something. Plenty of us probably struggle with the same thing. You understand what I'm saying? But plenty of men, some of you struggle with other things. Man, all of us struggle with something. All of us have that thing that we liable to slip on, that we liable to backtrack on, that we liable to, as they said in the church, backslide on. We all have those things, man. We all have at least one. All of us has one. That's just the way it is. But you can't beat yourself across the head because you got that one. God understands that you got that one. He's not expecting perfection from you. But let me tell you what God's expecting from you. That thing that you struggle with, He gonna give you a pass on that. But He ain't gonna give you a pass on nothing else. Man, let me tell you something. Don't take His kindness for weakness. Don't think just because He give you a pass on that thing. He know you striving. He know you striving. He know you grinding. But that thing is in your. That thing is hereditary. That thing. If you're a man, that thing that most of us struggle with, boy, that's hereditary. That's just in us. And we live in a world where the options for us to have a wife just aren't there. Not close to us, not for the most part. So when you think about it, man, you got to keep this in mind. And I want y'all to understand this. That thing that you struggle with, God will work with you on that. But He ain't gonna let you get away with them other things that He know you know better than, that you can control. Those things that you shouldn't ever do, you better not do them. God is merciful, but that just means the thing He know that you struggle with, He give you a pass on it. He work with you on that. It don't mean that you can just do anything you want to do and then come to, I had a moment of weakness, Lord. I ain't know nothing about. No, that's not how it goes. Also, take no heed unto all words that are spoken, lest thou hear thy servant curse thee. In other words, stop being so nosy. Stop worrying about everything that's going on. Stop being in everybody's business. Stop, man, you know what? You know the worst thing in the world, man, is to eavesdrop. Eavesdrop. Go in somebody's phone. You're worrying too much. Pay no attention to all words that are spoken. Don't worry about it. That's why listen, if you hear something about me, you hear somebody saying something about me, you send it to me, I'm blocking you. You mention it to me, I'm blocking you. Plenty of people, long time supporters. You ain't gonna never see them in the chat no more unless they create something new. Gotta create a new channel. That you just ain't gonna see them. You ain't gonna see them in the comments no more. I don't care nothing about that. If I didn't go listen to it, I don't care nothing about it. The people I listen to ain't gonna say nothing about me. The people that say something about me, I don't listen to them. So pay no attention to all words that are spoken. Don't take heed unto all words that are spoken, because you're gonna hear something. Somebody's gonna say something bad about you. You know what that's gonna do? It might make you be hasty in the spirit to be angry. And we already know anger rested in the bosom of fools. We already know that. For oftentimes thine own heart know it that thou thyself likewise has cursed others. That's the main thing. Why you worrying about somebody doing something to you that you know you done did to somebody else? Now one of us can say we ain't never said nothing bad about nobody. Now one of us ain't never said that we ain't gave our 2 cents about somebody. Now one of us can never say that. So if you have ever done that, then you know that people do it. And why are you gonna be tripping, worrying about if somebody doing it to you when you know you did it to somebody else? The person that you think did it, the person that you hear do it to you, if you knows it like that, you probably said something about them too. You know, energy is a two-way street. Karma is a real thing, man. It'll come right back on you. Worrying about what somebody's saying about you, that means you ain't worrying about what God think about you. See, I'm only worrying about what God think about me. If you don't agree with what God think about me, I don't care what you think. But guess what? If you do agree with what God think about me, I still don't care what you think. My concern is, how does God view me? How does the Most High view me? Am I finding grace in the sight of the Most High? That's my concern. Am I finding grace in the sight of the Most High? Is he viewing me as the man he put me here to be? Am I doing the things in my life that affect the people who are in my life in the way that God will have me affect the people in my life? Am I staying away from the things I need to stay away from? Am I prioritizing the thing I need to prioritize? That's the question. All this have I proved by wisdom. I said I would be wise, but it was far from me. That which is far off and exceeding deep, who can find it out? You'll never know everything. No matter what machine you make, there's only so far in the depths of the sea you can go. You can't go into the deep, deep depths of the sea. You can't do it. You don't know what's down there. It's dark, real dark. And so if there's anything there, only certain things can see. Whatever, somebody got to make light down there. Don't nobody, you can never know. You can never know what's at the center of the highest mountain peak. You just can climb it. You can't drill a hole through it and go to the center of it. You can't jump in a volcano and then come back and tell the world how hot the lava was. I applied mine hard to know and to search and to seek out wisdom and the reason of things and to know the wickedness of folly, even of foolishness and madness. And I find more bitter than death the woman whose heart is snares and nets and her hands as bands. Whoso pleaseth God shall escape from her, but the sinner shall be taken by her. Now, this isn't talking about the virtuous woman. We already know the virtuous woman. She's a crown to her husband. She maketh her husband proud and doesn't embarrass him and do none of those things. We're talking about the woman whose heart is snares and nets and her hands are bands. You want to escape from her. Your life can't be the same if you allow her in it. But the man who pleases God knows her when he sees her. The man who pleases God sees her when he knows her. The man who pleases God stays away from her. Even though she may wheel you in and lure you in the beginning before you get caught up in those snares and nets and bands. You out of there. You're gone. Don't take long, but you got to be gone. Behold, this have I found, said the preacher, counting one by one to find out the count, which yet my soul seeketh, but I find not. One man among 1,000 have I found, but a woman among all those have I not found. One man among 1,000 have I found. One righteous, godly man have I found out of 1,000. But a woman among all those have I found not. Righteousness is a connection between man and God. Woman can either benefit by following or not. Lo, this only have I found, that God made man upright, but they have sought out many inventions. God made man upright, righteous, focusing 100% of his energy on the statutes and commandments of the Most High, living a quality life, living a life that's pleasing to God, finding grace in the sight of the God. I did say the God. But man has sought out many inventions. These inventions have locked us into a world where wickedness and folly are the order of the day. Look at all of the things that technology has led to. Look at all the different portals that the internet has opened. And look at how easy the access is to the internet now. With all the things on the internet, we allow our children to have access to it. And many times, it's not even governed access. They have access to all types of things that we would have never had access to, but they have access to it, a bunch of access to it. You got people who can reach out to them online. You got, man, there's so many things that can take place online, and technology is the invention that once it was started, is rolling down a mountain. We can't catch it. We can't stop it. Ain't nothing we could do but let it keep growing. And I'll be honest with you, I try to stay away from as many inventions as possible. And when I do use them, I make sure that I do everything in my power to govern myself and my tribe to use them in a responsible way that's beneficial to what we're doing and beneficial to what we got going and beneficial to what I got growing. Otherwise, you'll get caught up in the intentional webs and nets and traps that are out there just waiting to, and they're big nets and traps. They never fill up. Nobody will ever be the last one to get caught in one of those traps. They are forever hungry, and they will take as many people as you get caught up in them. And I want y'all to understand that God has made man upright, but He has sought out many inventions. The trick box. I was just telling somebody the other day, man, how you can be watching something on TV and get triggered emotionally. Like, think about people who cry watching a movie. That ain't even a real, it's not even happening in real life. These are actors who are working with the craft in a way that it can put you in a real emotional space based on a fictional scene that you're watching. That's nothing trickier than that. That's nothing trickier than that. I listen, man. If it ain't funny, I ain't watching it. You got the types of things out here, man, that we must understand that God made man upright, but He has sought out many inventions. So, brothers, hey, listen, man. I appreciate y'all being in the joint, man. I appreciate everybody being in the joint. It's been super real in the field, man. Let's go ahead and get ready to slide on out of here, man. Got 190 people in here today, man, which is that's phenomenal, man, for the King Ray channel, man. Let's get this thing growing, man. And we'll be back in here tomorrow around the same time. And we'll be back in, man, for another morning motivation run, man. I appreciate y'all being in here, man. Famo, SJ3. Appreciate you brothers being in here, man. All the other brothers in GLG. I appreciate y'all being in here, man. The kingdom. Appreciate it. Kings. Let's go rule. Put God first. Keep grinding and growing, my brothers. Peace.